Alrighty, oh my god. I had to fix this microphone. I was trying to do everything in my power using the control panel. I upgraded to Windows 11, so this microphone was not compatible with the default settings. So when I went to StreamYard and I went allow access, Windows 11 was not allowing me to have access without a system freaking update. So I was like, oh, Jesus freaking Christ. But I'm so sorry for the late night stream. It was supposed to be at 12 o'clock. It is 3:16 a.m. my time. I am live here, and I wanted to do this earlier, but Windows 11 was being a complete asshole. Well, I'm going to be an asshole too. It's been a while since I've done a stream. It's late. I might continue and do this maybe like later on, because I have a feeling it's going to be like a part 2 to this, but this is involving the situation that happened recently with a right-wing commentator named Charlie Kirk. If you don't know, he is a person who pretty much does what every, I would say politician, spokesperson. They go to different campuses, they meet up with like young college students, and they speak and they discuss controversial topics. And most of the time, the topics really hit home for a lot of people, especially marginalized individuals. And so that is something that I 100% support. I love discussions like that. I love discussions where you can easily just debate and have different kind of conversations with people, and also have a different perspectives from other people. It's a matter of, you may not agree with what they have to say, but at the same time you can understand their side while not agreeing with what they're saying. And I don't think a disagreement should involve violence, because if your life is not in danger, you shouldn't have to like wanting to fight someone or wanting to hurt that person all because you disagree with their opinion. So I don't agree with that. And that brings me to my next point. Now, the title, I made it because I knew it was going to be controversial. I knew people were going to get triggered, and I intentionally did that because I knew it was going to garnish attention from people who idolize Charlie Kirk, and people who don't idolize him, and people who just want to come in here and make a big fuss and start shit, whatever. I did this intentionally because I wanted to have a well-rounded discussion, and just explaining my side of the things. Let me just say this, put out the record: I don't condone murder of any kind if it's not out of self-defense. Okay? Nobody should be murdered for any opinion, whether it may be an opinion that may offend people of a different race, gender, sexuality. It does not matter. No one should be murdered for stating their difference, their opinions on something, and explaining why they feel that way. They're entitled to express their notion. They're entitled to express who they are in terms of their opinions. And it may not agree with what you may want to have or what you may want to say. Yes, Kevin, I had a big mic problem with Windows 11. Freaking Windows 11 update. But I'm here. So getting back to it, nobody should be killed. Nobody should be put in a sense of physical harm due to their opinions. Okay? And what happened on that day, on September 10th, at 2025, 3 o'clock p.m., or I think it was around 3 o'clock, between 3 o'clock and 3:30, an assassin came and shot this man. I know a lot of people here, especially people on the right, they're going to assume that I was jumping for joy, leaping for joy because this man died. Let me just say this. I have MAGA friends. I have liberal friends. I have far right friends and I have far left friends. I don't give a rat's ass what your political beliefs are. Nobody should be murdered for your opinion. Period. The point of engaging with people and doing it in a public space is to have a certain level of opinions about a topic. And of course, that topic can relate back to the person, and then you can judge the person's character or the person's virtues based on how they feel about certain topics. You know, that's what the likely chance of with Charlie Kirk is. I don't like him as a person. I think he's a despicable human being. And this is not me saying this, him being dead. This is me speaking when he was alive. I felt that his beliefs are very warped and skewed. I was not a fan of his commentary, mainly in pertaining to black people. He had said numerous of statements that really let me realize how bad racism is in America. And the shit that came out of his mouth, really, I have no respect for someone like that. Okay? No respect. When you tell someone that because they're black, that they are a lesser human being, and that their intelligence or genetic compound makeup is inferior to a European or an Asian, and say that you will not trust a black person to do any deeds for you because you don't think they have the mental capacity to do the task. Come on. How can I respect someone who legitimately believe in eugenics? Believe that because I'm African American that I'm an inferior person, that I deserve to be treated like a dog or a cat or a mouse because I'm African American and I'm not equal to what he defines as superior or human. And that was my first introduction to Charlie Kirk. I've talked about Charlie Kirk before, many of times on this channel and on Omega Magic's channel. Shout out goes to him. I've talked about Charlie Kirk and just how the man is a POS. A lot of people like his opinions because, again, he triggers other demographics that other people may not care for, and they may gravitate towards that because it makes them feel good about, their motivations and their opinions. And that's all good and dandy. You guys can do that shit. I don't care. But for me personally, I like to keep it real. And you know me, I'm not going to sugarcoat or try to get on people's good graces all because I don't want to offend them. I want people to be real. Will, what's going on? Kevin, what's going on? Cherry, I'm so sorry for the lateness. Yeah, it's really more so of, I don't care about how you may feel towards situations involving topics, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we say or what I say. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, and really where it stands by, everyone is going to have their opinion on a person. And me not mourning Charlie Kirk, I did, the Wicked reference with, No.One.Mourns.The.Wicked. The reason why I did that is because you'll see. I have several clips I want to show you of why I don't respect Charlie Kirk and why I don't mourn him. Now, this man has never hurt nor killed anyone. And he's never advocated for violence against someone else. And that's one thing that I'm going to put that out there. He was never a violent person. He was never a person who wanted to hurt other people. He was just an asshole with warped screw values, in my personal opinion. And for me, I don't mourn someone I don't respect. because that's not who I am. And I don't be fake about my feelings. My feelings are 100% legitimate. Okay? I don't mourn someone who I have no respect for. However, I pity the fact that he had to sacrifice his own life, all for the name and cause of a person who he himself idolized. This is the second body Donald Trump has taken out through people going and idolizing him. Two famous people died already. Hulk Hogan and Charlie Kirk. Both well known nationwide. They're well known for their opinions, their publicity, the celebrities who endorse or who talk about or they're featured on. They're both well known. But I don't respect this person, but I pity the sacrifice that this man had to do. And it was something that no one should condone. And I'm going to speak to leftists here, liberals, because I know this has been a situation where liberals and leftists have been, they've been partying it up. They've been on Twitter. I saw it. They were on Twitter, YouTube, Threads, Blue Sky, freaking celebrating and laughing at Charlie Kirk. And this is where I'm going to speak to liberals. You're full of shit. Because if that would have been someone like Joe Biden or Kamala, or someone that you find to be a good role model in the left, and the right, the MAGA Republicans would have done something like that, you would raise hell and you would say they're fascists, they're bigots, because they're evil and all this other stuff, because they're laughing at someone who you guys respected and they don't respect, and so they're celebrating that person's demise. That is why I don't. You guys are full of shit on the left for doing that. You guys should know better. You guys should be well aware of the things that you say, the things that you do, how you represent. You cannot do something like that and then call yourself a good person, because Charlie never killed anyone and he never committed violence. He was just a piece of shit in terms of his views, in my personal opinion. But he never killed and he never did anything worthy that could be violent. And that is something that people need to understand, is that there are people out there that have very outlandish views. But as long as they are not hurting anyone, as long as they are not causing any strife or pain, come on. Why advocate for their demise? If he never raped anyone, if he never hurt anyone physically, then there's no need for you to celebrate this man's passing. There's no need. There's absolutely no need. You don't have to do that, because it's not warranted. Oh, I knew who Charlie Kirk. Me and Omega, we talked about this many of times. We done streams and panels about Charlie Kirk. I introduced Charlie Kirk to Chase a while back, a couple of months. I think it was last year. I showed a picture of Charlie Kirk and said how he looked like Mr. Potato Head, because he has a big head and small facial features. I'm not sure if that's an abnormality or whatever, but it was back during when Charlie Kirk was alive and, he was being an asshole. And people who be assholes, who act like assholes, who promote assholism, they don't deserve to die. And they don't, conflict will happen through pressuring people and violence, but no one should be killed or murdered for speaking their opinion. Absolutely not. And I don't condone that. However, my honest feeling towards Charlie is I don't mourn him. I pity him. I pity that he could have the potential to recognize his views and understand that a lot of it is very problematic. You know what I mean? And I pity the fact that he was very young, 31 years old, 2 years younger than me. I'm 33. And he never had the opportunity to evolve past his grifter phase. You know what I mean? And that right there is why I pity him. I pity the fact that it was cut short. I pity that aspect. And I wish things would have been different, because I personally would love to debate against Charlie Kirk one of these days. That's one of the, well, my intent was to grow this into like a big political spectrum where we can, do it like BuzzFeed and, The Wire and what have you. But I wanted to eventually have a moment where we can discuss different policies involving, the presidency, situations involving human rights. And now I can't. Exactly. Because it's been cut short. Because someone, and I'm going to get into this. This is going to be a little bit of conspiracy going on. But let's just say Epstein files is possibly the reason for his murder. And I'm just going to be dead ass with you. That's a little bit of a conspiracy I have. I'll get back to that later. But let me tell you, no one should be murdered. Period. But I can't mourn this person because I never liked this person. I never respected this person. I never did. I never did. And because there was nothing of value this person had to offer for me to show admiration. The only thing I could probably say that is noteworthy is the fact that, well, he did live a traditional family life. He had a wife, he had kids. He had a big audience of people in Idaho, in the university dorm, watching him and listening to him and, waiting to debate and have discussions. And he was ready to engage with the audience if they disagree. And, he was ready to have that kind of convo. However, as far as that goes, that is how I respect the goodness of that. However, I don't respect anything else. Because this person, which I'm going to show you in a minute, I'm going to show you some clips. How can I respect someone who thinks that because I'm African American, that I am a subhuman creature? Because I'm African American, I'm not allowed to breed or have children with European descent individuals? He thinks that biracial children are disgusting and inferior because they have Negro genes. How can I respect someone who says something like that? How can any black person sit here and literally agree and be like, yup, you tell it, man. So, yup, you really prove your point. Yup. No, you cannot do that. No, you have to have self-respect. And I have too much self-respect. And I'm going to say the word sin, pride, for myself and my dignity to allow this person to influence some sort of sympathy for them, being a debater and being a piece of shit person in their views. That's really where it stands with me and Charlie. I don't respect Charlie. I didn't respect him when he's alive, but I'm not going to speak ill will because he's not here to defend himself, but I'm only speaking of the past tense when he was alive. When he's dead, there's no use for me. So I can only speak of Charlie during his time alive and being alive and seeing the stuff that he has said and listening and then understanding what kind of person Charlie is. He's an influencer, But in my personal opinion, he's an influencer for the wrong reasons. And I'm going to get into that. So let me show you this clip. Before I do that, I'm going to say this. Eric, what's going on? I am so sorry for being late. Windows 11 was a bitch, and this is why I prefer Windows 10, but my mic was like, fuck out of here. We're going to use Windows 11 drivers. So this is what happens. Kevin Laggy, Pink Lives Matter. Well, we're going to get into some Lives Matter here. My girl, Cherry, what's going on? Okay, astounding, well-endowed Randy. It's funny, I was watching a stream and literally in less than a minute you posted this up, Chayton and Jordan got yeah, here's the thing. I never sent this out to anybody. Listen, I didn't even tell my friends that I was going to do this stream. They found out because of someone else telling them that I'm doing a stream. Can you believe that? I never even posted or told Kevin, Cherry, Jack. I didn't tell any BioX. I didn't tell nobody. And they're my witness here. I didn't say nothing. I didn't say anything about it. This was just a future topic that I wanted to discuss, and I wanted to have an open conversation, an open dialogue, because my intent was to do that. I said, this is the perfect moment where it's controversial enough, it's messed up enough, but it's enough to garnish attention from people who may have varying opinions. And so that is exactly why I wanted to do it. If they got triggered, then why don't they come in here? And they can come in here and they can state their opinions. They can turn it up. Because for me, I'm not here to do a moral game of mourning or not mourning. I'm being dead ass real with you guys. I don't mourn the fucker. I pity him. I pity the fact that he died at such a young age, 31, 2 years younger than me. He was successful, but he died. And the last thing he said before he died was that minorities and people of color commit most of the crimes in America. And when he said that, he didn't even finish the sentence. But right before he was about to, the snipe happened. I'm going to show you some clips. I'm not going to show the graphic video. I'm not showing you the footage because that's completely disrespectful, and I will not show assassination footage. You starting this after Canelo and Crawford fighting? Okay. I'm kind of hoping this starts after the fight. It may continue. Lewis, what's going on? I know that feeling all too well. Yeah. It's a feeling of narcissism from people who feel embedded about a person. And there's something else I wanted to talk about too, parasocial relationships. I think it's fucking creepy to like someone who you never met, who you may know of, but you don't know them. You never met them and they don't know you. And you form an attachment towards that. You form an attachment towards people who you never even communicated with in any sort of way. You idolize their status as a celebrity. You idolize their viewpoints. But this person, they don't know you. And you only know of them. You only know the surface. You don't know, the real person. You just know of the person, and they don't know you. So I think it's really creepy that people are putting anybody, but more specifically Charlie, into a pedestal of nearly godhood, if you get what I mean. Like, it's almost like they're worse. Like they're basically doing what they did to Luigi Mangione. And I thought that was creepy enough too. The whole Luigi arc itself, that was some fetish, weird, creepy. I was not into that. I was not into the whole Luigi fest. I thought that was very weird, and it shows what kind of society that we're living in. We're living in a very warped, twisted, messed up, idolizing society that it really puts a damper on our intelligence and perspective on a lot of things. But before we do that, I'm going to show you the clips. Crawford won when he is the GOT status now. Okay, I'm going to put the link right here in the comment section. And once that's there, I'm going to bookmark it, or I'm going to highlight it, pin it, and then I'm going to stream these videos I want to show you. So just give me a second. I will be right back.
evil action occurs.
So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped and she was going to give birth and she would and she was going to give birth and she was going to live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
But it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
25% of these kids.
Okay, so what that clip was showing if it's involving abortion, and this woman had made an example. She gave us a hypothetical scenario, and she said that if someone would have raped your 10-year-old daughter and she would have gotten pregnant, right? She asked Charlie, would you abort the baby for the betterment and safety of your child, or would you have the baby full term and delivered? Mind you, a 10-year-old minor whose body and reproductive organs are not suitable enough to sustain life because their bodies are not meant for pregnancy, because they're underdeveloped and they're minors. Okay? Literally, Charlie says, yes, I will have the baby. Meaning a baby that was unwanted. A baby that nobody asked or to have. That child who was hypothetically raped never asked for any sort of children to be born out of its body or responsibility. So the fact that Charlie would say, yes, he would have the baby, a 10-year-old daughter being in a situation that's raped, no, that's nope. And that was strike number one. Hold on, guys. So that was strike number one. Nobody Nobody should have a situation like that. And it's messed up that some people will go to the lengths to defend abortion. Listen, I don't care if you don't agree with abortion or not, but come on, that's your 10-year-old daughter. You're going to make your daughter have a full-term pregnancy at 10 from being raped? Something is not clicking. That is strike number one for me. And this was an old clip, but this was strike number one, because a loving parent, a caring parent, will never let their 10-year-old child live with the responsibility and the hell of going through labor and becoming a parent to raise a child that they never requested and that was forced on them. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But that's clip number one. Let me show you the other clip. Sup, Chase? Sorry about that. I was a little bit late for this. I know I was supposed to do this earlier, but Windows 11 didn't accept my blue snowball drivers. No, Windows 11 literally, I was ready and prepared, and then StreamYard says, "Oops, sorry, we can't recognize your microphone." And I said, "Why you don't recognize the microphone? Windows 11 doesn't accept your drivers. Please update them." I went to the website. I had to fucking go to Windows 11 to go to the drivers update and put a custom driver for this blue microphone, and install it so that way I could, it was, I never had that problem in Windows 10. But Windows 11, boy, that shit really rocked my system. But let me show you this one. Hold on. Let me share screen. This is another clip about Charlie and how he sees black people. I'll let the video play for itself, and then you can come up with your own conclusions. So let me do that.
So hard because we've all been in the, and that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've
that's the
you
game
wouldn't have
theory
done
I was
that.
talking
You
about.
wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done
That's
that
not who I
before.
am. That's
No.
not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has
But
created.
I'm
So you heard that? And Chase, I made you mod. You heard that? So he would say, if you are a black person who literally have a license, authority by the government to control and operate a public transportation method, whether it may be plane, boat, Uber, however, you didn't hear it? Let me play it over.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so
Can you hear it
hard,
now?
because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off, and I feel better now thinking about that.
you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well,
that's the
you
game
wouldn't have
theory
done
I was
that.
talking
You
about.
wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that
before. That's not who I
before.
am. That's
No.
not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has
But
created.
I'm
So, I mean, you think that this is acceptable? It's just a varying part of opinion. This man literally thinks because you're black, you're not intelligent enough or qualified enough to take someone or be to have someone transport you somewhere because of your race. And this is a prime example of what I refer to as eugenics, where he views people of a different race as lesser than. He doesn't see them in the same equivalence. So what happens is that he feels that because you're of that race, or because of your that ethnicity, that even though you may have your license, I still think you're not qualified enough. And that's what he believes. That's exactly what he believes. I'm going to show this clip right here. And okay, I'm going to play this clip.
And Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. This is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive.
Irony.
They think we're like, oh, of course. That's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance. Of course. Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive. They think as they kind of now reveal that I'm only here because of anti-white, anti-Asian forced discrimination policies that turned me into a bitter, resentful activist that hates white people, honestly, through our policy.
I'm going to play it one more time and let it play.
Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. This is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are.
Bronze
They're
Burr,
so
what's up, my
narcissistic,
nigga? Let
they
me
think
just
this
say
is
this.
persuasive.
you're going to be in for
They think we're like
some big damaging info.
Of course. That's why we need affirmative action, because you have
the video
impressed us with your brilliance.
just speaks for itself.
Of
It speaks
course.
volumes. It speaks volumes.
Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Well,
they think this is
This is
persuasive.
my turn to give my side.
They think as they
of
kind
the
of now
opinion.
reveal that I'm
A lot of
only
people
here
didn't like the
because
fact that I had
of
a title that said
anti-white,
"No one mourns the
anti-Asian
wicked" because I
forced
don't mourn this
discrimination
fucker.
policies.
But
That turned me into a
right
bitter,
here, we're
resentful
listening to
activist
this
that hates
jackass.
White people,
And
honestly,
like
through
honestly, would you
our
respect a person who thinks that because you're black? First of all, let me just say this. Let me just be very clear for the people who are unaware about affirmative action and how does that entail, and you know, what about affirmative action and why is it like DEI? Let me just say this. Affirmative action is the predecessor to DEI. Let me tell you why it existed. It existed because shortly after Jim Crow, black people were not allowed to go to the same schools as whites. They were not allowed to use the same bathrooms, to work at the same facility, to get the same pay rate, which means if two people, black and white, are working at the same job, or I'm sorry, at the same profession, the black person, and they have the same exact profession, it could be like a sales clerk, it could be it can be an office clerk. It could be a client service provider. It could be a receptionist. The same exact position in the same exact field. And it could be at the same company too, employed, because that's what they used to do in the early 70s to the mid 70s. That black person will not receive the same pay. So let's say a white woman and a black woman both work at the same job and they have the same exact occupation, right? The white woman, 1970s, so let's say she was getting about, in the 70s, let's just put at $20,000 a year annually, right? 1970s. That black woman will only get, if she's lucky, $9,000 a year. If she's lucky. It can go way less than that. That's what affirmative action was trying to make it into, because it's an inequality, intentional inequality, to keep someone of a different ethnicity or skin color, to keep them grounded, lesser than, because of their ethnicity and of their race. They were put in situations where they cannot achieve the same equal. They cannot achieve the same amount of equivalence to their other counterparts. So it's like running a lap or running a race, and that white person got a 3-lap head start and there's 4 laps. And you didn't even start the first one. So you have to jog 3 extra laps at lightning speed, at sonic speed, in order for you to catch up, and hopefully you will come either as a tie, and if you win, it's because you're a freaking god. You're a miracle. You're a miracle worker. Okay? But you hope that the goal is to freaking at least make it to a tie after they got a 3-lap head start. And so that's exactly what affirmative action is. That's what affirmative action entails. And it is something that a lot of people, they confuse it with DEI. Now, DEI is bullshit. Okay? DEI is just a standard freaking procedure of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's just trying to, save face and be progressive. I hate fake progressiveness. I hate when companies do that, where they pander and they try to say that they care about this community, they care about these people. Meanwhile, they're financing to other countries that will definitely murder those type of people whenever they can, if that person would have entered their country. Okay? That's why I think DEI is bogus, because it does nothing for people. It is simply just a fancy way of saying, yeah, we're tolerant. We accept you. We give you this. We give you that. It's just a fancy way. That's why I never consider it to be seriously. Affirmative action, however, came because of an actual inequality. And that nowadays is benefited by white women. Why? Because of feminism. White feminism took a big portion of control with affirmative action. And thus white women became the primary benefit of today of affirmative action because of that, because they used the gender wars. The feminist movement was big in the 70s and the 80s. And they took that right that was belonged to people of color, of Black, Latino, Asian. They took that aspect and they removed that because they wanted to profit over that, because these women wanted to be on the same equal level as their male counterparts. And that's what happened when it comes to affirmative action. DEI is the spinoff to affirmative action, but it's what companies do to save face, to say, look how inclusive we are. Look at this rainbow flag. Look at my diverse community of workers. It's just to show forth how progressive you are, but you're only doing it because you just want to make your company look good. You're not doing it because you legitimately care about the demographic. Because the money that you give in, the money that you donate, you're donating that to organizations that will literally hurt the same people who you allegedly say that you care about. And that's why DEI is bogus. It's just a save face. Because nowadays nobody is being discriminated for their skin color, race. The only thing they're probably being discriminated is if you're transgender or if you're cisgender, that would be the only time they will openly discriminate. But when it comes to racism, when it comes to gender wars, when it comes to ethnicity and racial background, that's not happening. At least not in the Upper East Side, I would say. Maybe in parts of the South that still happen, because I'm pretty sure gentrification still happens, but no, it's not a thing. But Charlie Kirk, because they understand that, they can twist the narrative of people who have literally went through affirmative action. These women, these black women, went through affirmative action, went through a situation where they lost the opportunities and they had to be blessed through the law to gain the right so that they could be in the position they are today. And so when people like Charlie, they have to spin a narrative because they have to, again, that's why young white boys, they love Charlie Kirk. White boys, they love it when you stroke their ego. That is the biggest compliment. And especially when you can make them seem like they are, look how powerful we are. Look at the influence we can do. Look at these other minorities looking up at us. And while we look down at them and we see that, oh, look at what we do. We control the narrative. We don't have to let these retards. That's Orwellian. That's we're gonna talk about reptilian, the ugly kind. But one thing I would say is that, when you put yourself in that situation, of course you're gonna feel like this person is speaking to you. White boys love to have their ego stroking, just like how black boys love to have their ego stroking when it comes to fueling what is good to them, what they can hear. And so when they go to these college and these campuses and they listen to Charlie Kirk, the primary audience in Utah, all of these people, they were white. They were all white. All white. White male, mainly. The females didn't like the misogyny that Charlie was promoting. And so the females were only going against Charlie because of the misogyny. Sometimes the racism and the homophobia, but really it's because of the misogyny. But the men, the boys and the men, they love Charlie Kirk for that. Because if you can tell a young white man that because he's white and because he did these things or because of his existence being in a higher plateau, and that you shouldn't feel bad to be white, which nobody should feel bad to be white. You should be proud to be who you are. But if it's at the expense of punching down at another minority to make yourself feel good, that's a problem, in my personal opinion. And Charlie Kirk does that. He routinely attacks minorities to uplift his white audience and make them feel good about themselves and make them feel confident in who they are. And he's entitled to that. I can't cancel him for it. Well, I can't cancel him now because he's gone. But I'm not supposed to cancel someone for their free speech. You're canceled. Nobody should be canceled for their free speech. Absolutely not. If you're not harming anyone or you're not inciting violence or terrorism, nobody should be harmed for free speech. But I don't have to respect that. I don't have to respect that individual for what they say. Absolutely not. And as a black person, as a black man, I'm not going to listen to that and sit here and literally listen to someone who will denigrate a history that I'm well aware of, that black people had to struggle just to make it in the 1970s. No way. No way. But let me show you this other clip. That's my little rant there. I have plenty more to go. Let me share this screen. Hold on.
Don't give a shit if I'm dead.
Who?
You know.
Oh, well, you know, fuck them. Fuck them. They can kiss your pink ass.
I know that, but that's kind of funny because they wouldn't respect me or give a shit if I die. You admit it like a million times.
If they don't respect you living, what makes you think they're going to respect you dead? Exactly. And that's what I said about Charlie. If I don't respect him living, what makes you think I'm going to respect him dead? You know, that's why I'm saying I keep it real up in here. People don't like it because they idolize or they glamorize the fact that he was murdered.
Then they shared a link and it said, "Oh,
yeah,
the Mourn video,"
yeah,
and post on the community post,
yeah.
Like that idiot fucking Leon Calavera is like always talking shit when in his mouth.
It's funny because Leon talks so much shit when I'm not there, but when I'm there, he doesn't have that bravado. He becomes more docile and more well behaving.
About me too, probably behind the scene and public.
But it's so funny though. The person who destroyed his reputation, the person who made him afraid, the person who destroyed his Discord and his YouTube channel, and that's my nigga, by the way, Sloppy. He don't have that same bravado for Sloppy. He never does. He always acts scared and intimidated by Sloppy. He never comes in and acts in a way that is, that same badass bravado. He don't do that with Sloppy or Zexo. He does it with people who basically don't go to the extreme like how they went to cancel him. So for me, it's easier because then he can use that as, well, ZGB got rid of Firelord and stuff like that. And, it's the whole situation involving that. So he goes for the targets that he can because he's not scared of those targets, because the ramifications for what I do versus what Sloppy and Zexo does is completely in two different leagues. Okay? Yeah. I hurt you in the surface. They hurt you in the private. Okay? And in the private, it's much harder to bear because it's your personal life that they're going for, And then when they hit you in that jugular, of course you're going to think twice. Of course you're going to be very skeptical to say, because you know that this could affect your personal life. And so that is why he doesn't have that bravado to come at Sloppy and Zexo for what he did. So he comes at me because he knows that I'm only going to do it surface level. I attack people surface level because I really don't give a shit about people in that way. I only care about my friends and family and my lover. That's it. I don't care about like freaking, haters and shit like that. I'll attack them in the surface. But see, when you're dealing with a group that was involved in some nefarious activities when it comes to like pedophilia and, and grooming and stuff like that, and, Sloppy and Zexo are the ones to try to hunt these predators,
I usually help out.
Yeah, and their mission is to snipe them, wrong phrase, to scope them out and to literally fine if they're doing some nefarious activities. And when you're in a situation like that where you're basically told that, you know, because you're associated with this person, that you are a predator, you know, this is where it gets to the point where, you know, you're going to be afraid of that person, because you know that person can put your ass into some heavy water, some heavy hot water, if you keep going with that same energy. So of course that person is going to be skeptical. They're going to be very wary, and they're going to watch what they say. They're going to watch who they talk to, and they're going to watch what they say publicly, because they know that that person can easily give it back to them on a personal level, on a private level. And that's why Leon comes for us and not come for them. Leon doesn't come for them because he knows what will happen if he does. Okay? That's exactly why. That's why he's very bold in talking shit to us and not sloppy. You know? Like how the Italian mafia handle things. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, go ahead, Kevin, what you were saying.
I was just saying they probably do talk shit about them, probably behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah, when no one can hear it. Yeah. But they know better because they go publicly, you know, they put it right on the radar. You know what I mean? But he does with us, Leon does it with us, because he knows that we're not going to go to that, you know, that jugular of hitting them where it hurts privately. I do things surface level. So really anything I say is just going to be right off the surface, because I really don't care about what you do in your personal life. But if you know, if you're in a situation, like in a situation involving, you know, Firelord, then I'm going to say something about it. And he never liked me after that. So.
Like I do this.
Well, there you go. All is fair in love is war, because you show my content, Chayton. I saw you talking shit. I saw all of it. You guys were beasting, waiting for me to come in here. That's why I'm glad my microphone driver's cut off. I don't want to satisfy that attention, but I can do this again later on, and we can go for part 2. Doesn't matter. But getting back to the topic, let me show you this video here. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Hold on a minute. Igor, what's going on? I had to remain diplomatic on the Charlie Kirk issue because I do not really like Charlie Kirk. Yeah, so here's the thing, and this is my personal perspective and opinion. Be real about how you feel about someone, even if they were murdered or assassinated. You don't have to enjoy the fact that they were killed or they were taken out of the world. But you don't have to respect the person if you never respected them before. You know, if someone that you knew, who you could not stand, who you do not respect, someone ends their life, I'm not going to jump for joy and say, thank you, Jesus, thank you for that. No, I'm going to be like, my instant reaction when I saw that on the news, I was like, holy shit. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe what was going on. And they showed the video, and I was like, oh my God, we are in for a world war. We are in for a civil war that's happening in the United States, because this is going to incite people to become patriotic. Of course, they're going to blame the Dems and say, you see the Democrats, they're trying to kill us, and they're trying to remove us from this world because they don't like what we say. They don't like our free speech. They don't like it. Come to find out about the killer, he was a MAGA. He was a Trump supporter, and he was an Israeli Zionist agent. And we're going to get into that, about the Epstein files. Because Mr. Charlie was pressuring Fatso over at the White House about them Epstein files and what's on them, and is your name on them, and what were you doing at Jeffrey Epstein's island with underage children? Why did 20-odd girls came out and five boys actually was on the list. 5 little boys and 20 odd girls were coming out saying Trump molested me, he sodomized me, and he forced me to have an abortion. Charlie Kirk wanted to know if it was true. He wanted to know, is my name, why is your name on the Epstein Island list? Is it true? Release the list. And he was constantly pestering Trump about it because he himself, despite him being an asshole, there is some level of integrity that he wants to have in terms of how he wants to express his philosophy as a Christian and as a Republican. And he feels that if he protects and defends, the Epstein Island situation and cover up, then in his heart, it feel like he's lying to his own public, he's lying to his own followers, and he's being a hypocrite to his own cause. And so that's why with this whole Jeffrey Epstein, that's how I knew, because Charlie Kirk is heavily involved with Zionism. And the Zionists are the big elite cabal that are in charge with the genocide in Gaza, the genocide of the Palestinians. And it's a big thing involving that. That is a situation where big corporate Democrat and Republican senators, leaders, and even celebrities are heavily involved with Zionism. And there's something that I want you to know. I believe he was a target by the same people who were trying to silence him about the Jeffrey Epstein situation. Release the Epstein list, yeah, because they're hiding it, and they're hiding it because they know what's in it. You got freaking Nancy Mace crying her eyes out, finding out about what these women, they come forth and told what happened to them, the survivors, because there were a lot of children that died on that island. It's really gruesome. You don't want to know about that. I hate transphobes and the tradcons because they have repeatedly tried to take MGTOW away from me and called me other bad stuff. They failed, but I learned why they're hated so much. You're referring to TERFs and trad bros, I believe. You're referring to these people who literally think that, I guess they feel like transgenders are invading their space and invading, they're invalidating their sex, and they're invalidating their manhood and womanhood, and they're really just attacking trans people left and right. And that is exactly what's happening. These are groups that are into self-inclusion, and they feel like these other abominations shouldn't exist, because that's how they see trans people. They see them as abominations. They see them as a mistake, and they want to criminalize them for it. So that's flat out fascism, in case you guys didn't know, because regardless of how you may feel about trans people, they have a right to be trans. Okay, and getting back to trans children, let me explain this to you. I'm going to keep it very real. This is how they should do it. Nobody's trying to trans your kids, okay? And you as the parent are there to make the decision for your own child. So if your child says, "Mommy, Daddy, I was born in the wrong body, I want to change your gender," you as the parent have to be smart enough to decide if this is the right choice for your child, okay? That's what you as a parent need to fucking do. Okay, do not try to put these teachers in jeopardy and make them lose their jobs or go to prison because they decided to teach that transgenders exist in the world, And the fear comes from, was Charlie Kids at the shooting? Yes, he was. Yes, they were. It was his kids and his wife. Yep. It was a big event. It was a big, huge event. Probably like thousands. I think about 3,000 or 4,000 people there. And Charlie's kids and family was watching his debate. They even videotaped it from multiple angles, and they had to observe their own father passed away. And that I would not wish on my worst enemy. That is probably the most fucked. That's why, and the way how the assassin came into the school, because these schools, they have metal detectors, they have drones, they could detect whether or not someone is bringing an assault rifle to take out someone. They have security cameras, they have security guards, they have security systems that will activate if you illegally trespass under campus property, which is how I know that this was an inside job, because these school systems have security systems to prevent people from entering and climbing up. So let's say someone else wanted to enter a campus facility, right? Let's say they wanted to enter the main campus and they're trying to sneak in, but they're not going to go through the front entrance nor the back entrance. So they're going to sneak, climb up the gate, and then climb up the building and try to make it to the rooftop, so that way they could do whatever they want to do by entering and infiltrating the place, right? The security system alarm will instantly kick in. Instantly. You cannot do that. These schools, these campuses, especially the Utah campus, these schools are made and trained for top level security. It's a big fucking campus, a huge campus, and it has a lot of security and security systems. There's no way that killer could have gotten on top of that roof without someone being there, aware of that person on that rooftop with an assault rifle. Hell, there's people who caught the killer on top of the rooftop and they recorded it with their phone. Now tell me how that person was able to get away bringing an assault rifle to shoot and assassinate Charlie Kirk. Tell me how he was able to get away with that. I mean, they caught the killer, but tell me how he was allowed to enter the school premises, climb up the rooftop with the assault rifle, Kill Bill style, and shoot and snipe Charlie Kirk in the neck.
The only problem is, this is my opinion, even if he got in the building, not sure there's other ways to get in the building.
No, there's no way. Well, there's a staff, but you have to enter either through the front, the side entrance, or the back entrance, right? Each of those entrances are guarded by security, and they have security cameras, and they have a security alarm. So if you are illegally entering their premises by bypassing the gate system, because they have a gate, if you bypass that, the alarm will kick off and it will let the security guards know there's an intruder entering the premises. Please go to that destination. And so that's what would happen if someone were to sneak into the campus. But because that never happened, and this person was able to bring an assault rifle, make it to the rooftop of this campus, and snipe Charlie Kirk, and people recorded with their phones, and they were able to catch the killer. How did that killer get up to the rooftop? And who allowed the killer to bring the assault rifle? How did that killer was able to bring that assault rifle on top of the rooftop without the security alarms, the security cameras, and the security who are around the premises not seeing that killer? And I'm pretty sure they would have seen a person with a big assault rifle pointing at Charlie Kirk. I'm pretty sure they would have noticed and stopped him right away. He wouldn't even got into the premises of the school. That's how you know it's an inside job. It's an inside job because there's no way, especially a big public figure like Charlie Kirk, would get in a situation where someone can easily snipe him. There's no way that could have happened ever, unless someone or the system that's in play allowed this killer to climb up the building, point the gun, the rifle at Charlie, scope him out, and bang bang. There's a conspiracy about that. There's a big conspiracy. And my conspiracy, and people are not going to like it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think Donald Trump wanted to have Charlie Kirk dead. Okay? That Epstein files is getting to him. Charlie asked about the Epstein files on July 14th, 2025. In fact, it became a central talking point on his channel, and his audience were pestering him about it. And Charlie was put on a chopping block because they thought that he was covering up the Epstein files. And remember, Charlie is a Zionist. He's affiliated with Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. This was a hit. And it was a big hit. So that way all the attention from the Epstein survivors and the Epstein files can no longer be talked about for a while. And so they took Charlie out as, the sacrificial lamb, in my personal opinion. Because this was not a liberal. They say he's a MAGA, they say he's a Republican, but I think he was a deep, agent, working for Israel or Mossad. And I think that they sent him out, and the school system's probably, the people in the background, like the people who are in charge of the school system in Utah, the government officials that were there, they probably are already aware of it. It was AI. I'm going to show that clip. It was AI. Trump was glitching throughout the entire video. And that video was pre-planned and pre-made before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So that means it was planned. So Charlie Kirk's death was planned, which means he was a sacrificial lamb for bigger and higher level elites. This is not a Democrat-Republican thing. This is an us versus the elites. And that's something you guys need to fucking figure out. We're dealing with a Zionist, fascist takeover. We're dealing with that. And y'all motherfuckers here need to fucking realize that your entire United States government has been compromised already. Why do you think Elon was involved in giving away your personal fucking information to fucking Putin, Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu? It's all compromised. Whether it may be Kamala, if Kamala would have won, or now that Trump won, either way, because they're both Zionists. They both are going to do exactly what they want for Israel, and that is what's happening here. And I know that's going to trigger people because people are going to, they feel motivated, think it's a Democrat, they think it's a libtard, they think it's a radical leftist that have done it. A radical leftist would not be allowed to enter the school grounds with an assault rifle, climb up on top of the rooftop to snipe and shoot and kill people. They wouldn't be allowed. No way. No way. The only way that will happen is if the people who are in the school systems, again, this is not confirming and I'm not 100% certain, but the math ain't mathin' for me. And this is just my hypothetical opinion on what likely happened. Charlie was always meant to die. The people and the powers that be wanted him to die. And that's what I think. Normal people who want to be a vigilante cannot enter that campus with an assault rifle in any part of that campus, especially with the security systems, the cameras that are there. Any sort of tampering, any sort of illegal access to the campus, instantly that alarm system will kick right in. And that should have happened, but it didn't happen. Why? Because it was deactivated. The cameras were also deactivated, conveniently allowing the killer to come up. And that is the situation. Oh, DH, boy. This link is here. If you want to talk, we can discuss and we can have this conversation. But before we get into that, let me just explain this. There is no way a vigilante, someone who's radical and cannot stand Charlie would able to enter that premises with an assault rifle. I can't even enter my campus from the back entrance when I was going to school. I couldn't even do that because the security system will, it will ring instantly. You try entering from the side entrance of any campus, especially a big campus, that security system will kick right in. And when that happens, when that security system kicks in, those guards will be on it. Those security will arrest your ass faster than you can fucking blink. So the fact that this man was able to enter the school premises, climb up this high-ass campus, this is a big-ass campus, it's very big. He was able to bring an assault rifle, point it at Charlie, and one-shot snipe him, and got away. And it took 1 day for them to find the alleged killer. No, that was an inside job. That was a clean cut or piercing through Charlie Kirk's jugular in his neck. This was no amateur or some crazy person looking for revenge, or they're just looking to stick it to the MAGA, and they wanted to take it out on Charlie because they can't stand the fact that he's promoting whatever he promotes. No, this is a bigger, higher level assassin. We're dealing with top government access, because that is the only way you can bring a weapon to a campus, a big weapon as that, and shoot someone and kill someone and able to get away for a day, allegedly. Come on now, the math ain't mathin'. The math ain't mathin'. And if it ain't mathin', there's an agenda going on.
DH is in the chat.
I know. I said I was going to just talk about this, and then I'm going to address DH, and then talk about what happened. What you have on the shooter right now. I don't have much on the shooter, because this is the person who they investigated, and they found out that this person had allegedly committed the shooting. But this man, it took you a day for you to find this man? You mean you couldn't find the killer right away? You couldn't easily hunt the killer down and chase them? Why did it take you a day for you to find the killer? And then you got the wrong person originally. Come on. We're not stupid. Well, some of us are, but I'm not. And a lot of people who are well aware of what's going on are not dumb. Then you got fucking ugly ass Elon, fucking retarded ass motherfucker, gonna want to have the nerve to go on Twitter and say, you see, the radical leftists.
Oh shit, deadbeats here.
I've said previously, I've been there, done that. So there's what, nigga? Why are you typing in capitals? Come on, punctuation. That's so there's no point. However, I've come to your territory. Now you come to mine. I'll give you the place and time. October 30th to 10th p.m. Central Time. I'll be down. That is no problem for me. That is no issue. And you're welcome to come here to state your opinion. So I'm hearing that you begging me to have, no, it's more like the opposite. I never gave anybody the link. I never even spoken to Kevin, Cherry, Bio, nobody about the stream I was doing. Right, Kevin? I didn't even tell them. I didn't even post the link. You know how they found out? Because you shared it. And Leon shared it. And Adam shared it. And that is how they found out. And that's when they messaged me. They're like, ZTB, how do you doing a stream? I didn't know about that. How did they know? They know because they went to my channel. You wanted to see me. You got me. I'm here. I'm right here. But this is some real shit that we're going to be talking about. You here for trolling. I'm here to have a deep, intimate discussion about things that are some things that a lot of people are not well aware of understanding yet, because there's a powers that be in play that is causing a kerfuffle and causing a divide within our society. We're slowly being inceptively taken down. Let me go back to retarded ass Elon for a second. That fucking degenerate motherfucker. The one who puts child porn on X on Twitter. You think I forgot about that? Let me tell you something, Elon Musk. How dare you even have the nerve, the freaking nerve to come in, hey DH, to come in and literally say, you see, them radical Democrats, they killed Charlie Kirk. You see? And he was trying to gaslight and incite a civil war against MAGA. Freaking Nick Fuentes, of all people, had to call out Elon Musk for that. And I don't respect Nick Fuentes, but I'll give him his praise. He has good moments. And that was one of his good moments, calling out these people who are using a tragedy to incite propaganda. So I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen, and I knew they were going to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what happened when it comes down to this whole shooting. They wanted a civil war. They knew, number one, this would be a perfect distraction from Jeffrey Epstein. Number two, if they can use this, they can attack the left and attack liberals and have MAGA blindlessly attack the left because they know that the left doesn't like Charlie Kirk, and they will present it as if the left is responsible for Charlie's demise, when actually it was his own people, not MAGA, but the higher ups, if you get what I mean, the people who he's employed to, the people who pays his checks.
I believe that, to be honest. I believe it had to be someone professional that knows how to use a gun. I mean, I don't think some random 22-year-old can shoot a gun like that, dude. I mean, the accuracy.
That was a clean one. Let me just say this for people who are watching the clip, or you accidentally ran into the clip on, on Twitter or on YouTube. Well, you're not going to see it on YouTube, but you'll see it somewhere. I saw the uncensored version. That bullet went straight like it was like watching a Mission Impossible movie, but seeing it in real time. The way how that bullet just went to the other side, and then instant Charlie's head tilted and the blood was pouring like a fountain. That was such a clean kill. It had to be someone higher up, had to be a higher up assassin. And even if it was a trained assassin who was not working for the elite, there's no way that killer would have entered the premises of the school without being noticed. No way. No way.
Did you also notice cameras? How under his shirt, you can see he's got something under the shirt, and people were saying it was a bulletproof vest. And there was also like a red mark on part of the shirt that could be argued maybe it would look like blood. And then there was a guy with a white hat that rubbed the bill of his hat. Around that time, Charlie was rubbing his nose, and then shortly after, the guy behind Charlie did a hand signal, and bam, the shot came in. So
he just disconnected again.
It's a whole there's a whole lot of shit going on there.
I'm sorry about that.
I don't want to say I don't think it was fake, because if you saw the video, that how do you fake that? I mean, that to me.
No, it's not fake because it was live. Like literally, I saw the bullet go through his neck. Blood gushed out. This is not like Trump, who got shot in the air, whose ear magically got healed the next day. This is a clear cut, like from one side of the neck to the other. It would hit his jugular. That's where your airwaves are at, and that is where the primary link between the neck and the brain is there. So he would instantly lose oxygen. And so he died right on the spot. There was no way you can save that man. This man was only lived for 15 seconds after that. Once his head tilted, I knew he was dead. I knew he was dead. His eyes rolled back and everything.
He held the microphone for a little bit. I mean, before it didn't really show a whole lot after he got hit, but he still had the microphone in his hand, and it's like.
There was a footage of, I saw on X, someone was close to Charlie Kirk and the stage, and I saw it up close. It was, it was pretty much a snuff film at that. But when you see what that killer had did and how it happened and how it just impacted his neck and how quick it happened, and the stuff that Charlie was saying about the crimes and the gun violence, because he was talking about he was talking about why is there a lot of gun violence in America, and he was blaming it on thugs, on illegal people coming here and creating conflict. Right before he finished his last sentence, that's when it happened.
Well, would you also think, at least think, not to say you have proof, but the guy asking the questions, if you're going to think maybe this is a organized event, would the guy asking questions possibly be involved? Because the way
I would
that
say the entire school system should be involved, because
the way
there's no way you can allow.
Questions were framed. He's talking about a shooting, and then bam, he gets shot. That's crazy.
Yeah. And he was talking about school shootings at that.
And then they actually
talking about the trans shooter
shooting the same day in Colorado.
Yeah, they were talking about he was mentioning the trans shooter who came in and killed those people, and now look at what happened with him.
How big is Utah campus? Just curiosity. How big is it?
About Charlie Kirk or the trans shooter?
No, the campus itself.
Huge. Let me show you a picture. Hold on.
I don't know who this Charlie Kirk is. I've already heard rumors about him. So.
Well, and what bothers me is a lot of the quotes that they say, it's misquoted. Like the stuff that he said is part of a quote, but there's more to it. There's more before he says, and then there's more after. For like the whole empathy thing, he was saying that he prefers the word sympathy. Empathy is kind of a newer word or something along those lines, but he would prefer the word empathy. And he was kind of speaking in a political sense. So, but people are like, oh, well, fuck you. You don't have empathy. We don't have empathy now that you're dead. And that's where I get pissed off, because I'm not going to sit here and celebrate anybody's death. And I don't like, I don't like people celebrating a murder like that. That's
first of all, you know better when it comes to me. I never celebrate anyone's death or anybody getting hurt or physically tortured or any of the sort. If I laugh at someone, it's because they did something embarrassing or they said something that was completely outrageous, and I laugh at them for it. But when it comes to death or violence, that is absolutely off ground limits for me.
It wasn't you. It was Mysteriously Kind that came in and was basically like, fuck him, he deserves it.
Oh,
and I was like, are you kidding me?
I can't stand anywhere.
Oh shit, I don't know about that.
So we kind of got into it a little bit, but I really didn't have nothing to say about you. They said you were doing a stream, and I just kind of said, can we talk about the Charlie Kirk thing? And then Mysteriously Kind comes in, he's like, oh yeah, he fucking deserved it. And I'm like, because he had a different opinion? Come on, man. What are we talking about here? That's fucked up. So
yeah, like I said, I don't care how much you hate the person. I dislike his morals and his views, obviously. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I'm not going to say, yeah, that motherfucker deserved to die because of it. Like, no, this man hasn't done anything to me personally to cause harm, to cause violence. He hasn't targeted anybody, any of my loved ones. So there's no need for me to advocate for this man to be murdered or hurt in any sort of way. Shamed? Yes. Murdered and violence? Absolutely not. I believe in self-defense. I believe you commit acts of violence to protect the people that you love and, of course, yourself. If you're put in harm's way, you got to do what you got to do to make it to the other side and not die. I believe in self-defense.
Well, the people, if I died, they won't give a shit about me either, so.
And you can tell them to go fuck off. And that's how I say it.
I do that all the time.
That's why I say it. People would say certain things because, yeah, there are people who lack
the
empathy.
person that was in the chat earlier, I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm still watching, like he usually does, but I know he's referring to me earlier.
Oh, the person who doxed you?
No, well, I saw the doxing by that's probably Cobra and John Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Groomers.
referring to Deadbeat himself in a chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they can come in here if they, if they want to start something. But for me, I want to have this discussion because this is not really intending to be a drama. This is more so intending to be a controversial topic. I do this with Omega. I do it with Will. Will is in the chat. And I do it with these groups of people. Will is a MAGA. Will is support Trump. He supports Charlie. And he's just like you, Dark Horse. The same political affiliation. And Omega is an ultra liberal. Supports Kamala. Supports Biden. Supports left wing ideology. And I'm in Omega's lane. So what we do is we come together. We state difference of opinions and we discuss and we have this kind of topic because I find it to be productive. And I find that more people now than ever are getting interested in politics and they're getting interested in having these kind of discussions where both parties can share their opinions on. And it could put into perspective of which side gravitates to them more. Instead of just giving a definitive answer, you give a answer. And then from there, you use that answer as a way to collectively discuss and see which response resonates with these groups of people more and what do they prefer. You know what I mean? And especially when we're dealing with legality reasons, we're dealing with, rights, finance, in this case, murder, it really puts on a spin because now it's not just a game that we can just relax. Now it's literally life or death in some cases. I went to, Hassan Piker, right? Don't ever watch his live chat or comment section about the Charlie Kirk situation because there is like a myriad of people on his comment section saying, good, I'm glad the guy died. I'm glad he died. They were celebrating it. And it's toxic. It's really toxic leftism because what they were doing is that they literally were trying to celebrate this man's demise. I wouldn't do that for any person who has not harmed anyone physically or who have not caused any sort of murder or be the entryway to someone dying. I wouldn't celebrate it. That's why I said I don't mourn Charlie. I pity him. I pity the fact that he was young. He was only 31, 2 years younger than me. I'm 33. And I didn't accomplish not even 25% of what Charlie did. Charlie was way up there. He accomplished so much. It may not be for the reasons that I may particularly prefer, but he accomplished a whole lot. And that accolades, especially dying by your virtue, that really hits you. No pun intended, but it really makes you wonder, like, this man literally died by his word. Literally died by his word about guns. And it's very eerie once you really process it. It's not, yeah, it's very disturbing. But yeah, this is why I wanted to talk about it. And I knew that the title was going to be triggering for some. I knew a lot of people were going to take it and they were going to say Z2B is mocking Charlie Kirk. Look at him. He don't feel any empathy or remorse for Charlie. And I call Charlie the Wicked because his views, in my personal opinion, it's wicked. But the title was like a clickbait in order to make other people, see it and assume that I'm going to mock Charlie and make him feel inadequate. I wanted to expose the reason why I don't care for Charlie and why I never appreciated his existence being alive because of that. But I also wanted to show how, despite all of that, this man should not be canceled. This man should not be silenced because he has a different perspective. And it may not be an opinion that I care for. It may not be an opinion that I resonate with. But I can respect the free speech of it all. And I can respect the fact that he's entitled to gain notoriety and clout from his own virtues and his own, for his own politics and what he stands for. So, it's a good summary. I could show more, but I think you guys pretty much got the message when it comes to how I feel about Charlie. I don't sympathize with Charlie. I pity him. I sympathize.
Was it a day stream, DH, when you fucking Stacey Khan went at it?
No, it was Chase stream. And I was in the stream, I just talked about it, and then
They're gonna remember.
next thing I know, he's in there basically, oh, fuck Charlie Kirk, he deserved to die, and yada yada yada, and claiming that nobody else had a moral compass. And I'm like, what kind of moral compass is it to rejoice in a man's death? And so, I mean, I really didn't want to think like ZTB, you were here to do that, because you always say you're for open conversations.
I'm a petty bitch, but I ain't that petty.
And that's what it was all about. If you disagree with somebody, you can still have a debate or a conversation about it, and that's what that's kind of the whole message there. So I was like, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think because the title definitely raised some sparks. It got people worked up, and they were definitely, anticipating something very nefarious. But when it turns out that it's just a neutral response, it was kind of like, damn, like, like, fuck.
Well,
like, I thought he was gonna
kick in regardless when you streamed anyway, so.
Well, I know. And I expected
that.
Sloppy. I was talking shit about you earlier. Watch it. Yeah, so late. It was supposed to be at 12, but I had my blue snowball. I was hooking it up because I had put Windows 11 on my gaming PC. The drivers messed up for me, and so I had to install all of those drivers because Windows 11 doesn't accept your microphone. So I don't like Windows 11. I upgraded because I had no other choice, because eventually my web browser was not going to be supported with Windows 10. So I upgraded to Windows 11, and I thought my microphone would be easy peasy. Turns out, no. Your ass got to install those drivers manually. And so that's why Microsoft can get a big fuck you out of me. Your piece of shit Vista 2.0, Windows Vista 2.0, that's Windows 11. But, yeah, I was talking about the situation with Charlie Kirk, and, I wanted to give my perspective, because, I don't mourn Charlie. I pity Charlie. I pity someone. in a good way for me. But, I pity him. I pity what, he was young, 31. Born 1994, 1993. I'm born 1991. So, the guy just had a family. He was making a lot of money being a political commentator and working under the Trump administration. Open Zionist, of course. He works for Israel, and Benjamin Netanyahu is getting that good money from Russia and Israel. So he had a nice house. He had a nice family, nice life. 93. Okay, good. He had a nice life. He was wealthy. He had a very good life. He was very popular. He had a lot of young college students, young white college students idolizing him and thinking that he is like, the next white Martin Luther King Jr. And they idolized that, and the fact that this man basically was taken from them, it's going to incite some sort of psychological awakening in them, because they're going to feel like people are trying to cancel us because they don't like the message. and they don't like the stuff that we're promoting, and they don't like the fact that he doesn't believe in wokeness, and he's calling out diversity and shit, and he doesn't believe in that. So the left just hates him for that, and that's why they probably wanted him dead, or they're probably celebrating. Let me just say this: the left can go fuck itself for doing that. And secondly, let me just say this: nobody here would want to terminate someone and kill them because they speak a right-wing opinion. If anything, the most we want to do is censor or silence, in terms of like putting a cap to like what they say or restricting what they say. That's as far as high leftism goes. But this person who did what he did and shot Charlie Kirk, this was not a matter of politics. This was something more sinister. It was an inside job. And I firmly believe it is because of Jeffrey Epstein. Another one was taken from Epstein files. Sadly, people will forget this in a month until the next big catastrophe. America loves violence. It won't stop. It's a recurring thing. And then it's the blame game on which side did it. Yep. And Elon Musk loves to point fingers. Loves to stir the pot. And again, that's another thing. A lot of these big corporate billionaires, they don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your family. They don't care about your loved ones. They don't care about any. You guys are sheep. Elon is trying to put a Neuralink chip so he can link your mind to freaking technology so you can become like the Terminator movie. Like, that's what he's doing. He got one patient who inserted a chip in his brain so that he can get Neuralinked with Elon's technology. This man don't care about you. He cares about money. Money, and trying to do what he can to control the next generation. And that's why he bought Twitter, to use it to spread propaganda. Because he knew that if he pays and buys Twitter, he can use that to spread a narrative, and then get the people whom he's affiliated with to get on these websites and promote that narrative and go for the youth, and then program him. Get back to bed and just watch it later. Yeah, it's a eye-opening stream, I would say. But yeah, that's what they do. These corporate ghouls, Mark Zuckerberg, and I believe Trump is going to die soon, because he's declining rapidly, and it's worse than Biden. And I firmly believe that J.D. Vance is going to be the next president, probably in 2026 or 2027. And I also think Peter Thiel is going to be the VP, because Peter Thiel trained J.D. Vance to get into politics. He was J.D. Vance's right-hand man. And so they both are billionaires. I mean, Peter Thiel is a billionaire, and they both are connected to billionaires and Zionism. So I think that, by 2026 or 2027, Trump is going to pass away, and then J.D. Vance will take over and basically become your new president. And that's when you're really going to feel the authoritarianism, because it's no longer going to be normal politics and normal politicians. It's going to be rich corporate billionaires in office. Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance. And a lot of MAGAs out here, they're not ready to have that kind of conversation, because, you can't really blame the left in that. You have to blame the higher up. And then, so it puts them in a state where they don't know what to say. They don't know how to respond to it, because they really want to blame you for it. But they know they can't spin it on that. So they have to, really ponder on who they're rooting for and the people who they're rooting for. It's a game. It's like George Carlin says, it's a big club, and we're not in it. We're just spectators. And so, but that's my little commentary. That's my little explanation for why, how I feel about Charlie. I don't mourn him because I think his policies are fucked up, and that will be classified as wicked in my personal opinion. Other people may consider those opinions to be motivating and righteous, and it gives confidence in other people's needs. And I can see that because a lot of young students, they love listening to Charlie Kirk. Gavin Newsom's son is a big Charlie Kirk fan, loves Charlie Kirk. And Gavin is a Democrat. He's a leftist, but he's a corporate Democrat, but he's a leftist. And, he would watch Charlie Kirk and be inspired by him. So there's clearly a heavy motivation within the youth, which is why this man's death is impactful throughout all of us as Americans. We're going to be talking about this for a while, up until more information about that Epstein files come in. But yeah, this Charlie Kirk thing it's gonna stay here for a while. There's gonna be a lot of conspiracies, a lot of talk, and you'll start to see a lot of changes, particularly with Donald Trump. A lot of changes. You'll notice it. See his mouth, he can't move his mouth, it's slurring. It's like that's how he sounds.
You actually said you were going to discuss something else as well.
Yeah. No, that I'm going to save for another topic, another part 2, because I'm making a part 2 to this. But this is really late.
You don't know what I'm referring to, do you?
Oh, I know. We're going to do that for part 2. Let me see this link. Hold on.
It's not like I didn't know it was going to happen anyway, but anyway.
Is that the one where they had 3 people on the roof?
I'm going to play my game. I'll catch you later.
Is that if he did this.
So what more do we know about the suspect?
Our Justice correspondent Scott McFarlane has been piecing together the life of Tyler Robinson.
Tyler Robinson grew up in southwest Utah, about 4 hours from the site of the shooting. The family spent a lot of time in the outdoors, according to a neighbor, where Robinson became comfortable around guns. A stellar student in high school, Robinson earned a full ride to Utah State University, but only stayed a semester. Neighbor Kristen Schwerman said he was smart, quiet, and respectful.
This is a total shock because that's not who Tyler was. That's not who Tyler is. And that's what shocks us all, is that if he did this, we think there was something else behind it.
In recent years, according to Utah Governor Spencer Cox, Robinson became increasingly politicized, referencing a recent conversation Robinson had with his family.
Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate.
A police affidavit reviewed by CBS News says the etchings on the casings from the gun included anti-fascist messages like, "Hey, fascist, catch." Robinson was registered to vote, but unaffiliated with any party, and his status was considered inactive, suggesting he might not have voted in the November election. The governor praised Robinson's family today for intervening and urged people to disconnect from social media.
It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer. on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community.
Scott, where does this case go next?
As the afternoon concluded Friday, the FBI was executing a search warrant at the family home. We'll see what evidence that brings up that's relevant to the court case that is to follow. The prosecutor in Utah speaks on Tuesday. They've already booked him on 3 charges, including murder. And John and Maurice, the feds could add charges too, and law enforcement sources tell me it is certain they will seek pretrial detention.
Scott, so much to be concerned about. What else are your law enforcement sources concerned about tonight?
Those etchings on the shell casings with messages on them, not the first time that's happened. We've seen that before, and there's concern about copycats and that this could be some type of signature that would-be attackers are trying to put on their shootings.
Scott McFarlane in Washington for us. Thank you, Scott.
Okay, so I watched the clip. He's a suspect. I'm not sure if that's the person who actually had taken out Charlie Kirk. I'm not sure if that's the person who was up on that rooftop. But he's a suspect and a person that the police and detectives are investigating. But let's get back to my point here. How the fuck he's gonna get in the campus with an assault rifle? A big campus has that. Let me show you the campus. Please explain how he's able to get into this campus. There's no way. No way. Let me show you. No way. No way. No way he's able to get in there. No way he's able to get in there. This is a big ass campus. There's no way he's able to get in this school with an assault rifle. Charlie Kirk was right in the middle. I think he was right here where the circle is. I don't know if you can see that. That's by the grassy area. You can see the circle. And the killer was directly horizontally, vertically around Charlie Kirk. You mean to tell me the security guards and the people didn't see him? Nobody saw the killer with an assault rifle? Nobody saw a killer trying to come after Charlie? Nobody say, hey, look up there. No, there's no way. That's how I know the person who killed Charlie Kirk was someone who is well trained in assault rifles, and he had to have connections to able to enter the premises with an assault rifle. No way it was a freaking amateur. The school systems, they would not allow a person with an assault rifle, especially a young white teen boy, coming in trying to take out people because they don't like their views. Come on. But this goes back to what I said before. They want a civil war. They want a race war and a civil war. And they want to use someone who they know is heavily unliked by the left. And that's Charlie Kirk. And they want to use him as a ploy or a martyr for a culture war. And he was the perfect sacrifice for it. And that's what I believe.
John Davis had his tricks again.
I know. These motherfuckers don't do anything productive. They dedicate their entire life to stalking people, creating troll accounts, and doing nothing of the sort that is productive.
Well, you need to worry about yourself. And
it's really sad because they're just giving us views anyway. They're just making this. They're making us more relevant. You know, when they do stupid shit like that. You gotta wonder though, what really goes on in their personal lives? Like, do they have a life? I don't think they do.
No,
if they spend this time stalking motherfuckers, doxing motherfuckers, getting them out, that's pathetic. Do you like a 55-year-old fucking man? Go somewhere and beat your meat in prison. Because that's where you belong after what you're doing with children. Sick ass motherfucker. But yeah, getting back to it. There's no way the killer could have easily gotten in with the assault rifle, climb up this rooftop, and vertically were able to kill Charlie Kirk from this angle. No way. No way. So that's a conspiracy right there. That's my little theory. And that's just what I believe, honestly. Got any final thoughts? Because I think I'm pretty much finished about what I wanted to say about Charlie.
Not really.
The fact that we lost a human life and they still care about themselves trying to instigate. Yeah, because they don't really care about politics and understanding people and having discussions. What they really care about is trying to get a rise out of people who they don't like. And they're trying to use an opportunity that is an important topic in order to fuel the fire and to make themselves relevant so that they could gain from other people discussing something very important. It's like what children do when they want attention. They'll do whatever they can to try to be in grown folks' business. It's kind of like that. They're playing a game. These are people in their 30s, 40s online fucking trying to do this so they can get a rise at it. If you really want to get a rise at your own life because you feel like your own life is miserable, sell your booty hole to Hollywood Diddy style. I mean, hell, if you're going to do it big, you might as well do it in that level. What's the point of you keeping your soul if you're going to, you know, not do anything productive with it? So sell it. Go to Hollywood right now. Go to Los Angeles and go to your nearest Hollywood agent and sell yourself. Be an escort.
Reason why I can say what I want to say about the troll too, because they're never going to leave me alone. So
I'm not going to do it because I love my soul and I'm doing something productive in my life, and I don't need the attention to notice me, senpai. No, I don't need that shit. But people, they do, and so they want to get notoriety, and they want clout, and they want attention. So go to Hollywood, sell your soul, write on the contract, take your blood oath, put your blood written down in ink or blood ink, and then write it down, and then boom. Easy peasy, lemon squeeze. You get people worshiping you. You get, you know, money, women, men, whatever you're into. You get that, and then boom. You will have to pay later, though, and that will be through your life. You know, when you get into those elite business, but you're not going to do anything relevant with it, so you might as well give it up. If this is what you're going to do as grown men and women, going online and creating these troll accounts, like, it's fine when you're doing it when you're young in your 20s and teens and you're just trying to get a good laugh, but come on, we're in our 30s. I'm almost 35.
Really,
you think I'm gonna keep doing this shit?
You say? Shit.
Yeah, we're old as fuck. I'm sorry to put you guys on the spot, but like, you know, yeah, like you guys are old. You guys are old. You guys are supposed to be like married fathers, married mothers, you know, or have your own family, or living single and doing you. Not go online, listen to what someone says so you can get a rise out of it. It's bullshit. That's why I was talking with my group about it. You know, I was talking with Kevin, I was talking with Cherry and Bio about this, because it's just, to me, I get tired of it. Nick, what's going on? What's happening? I get tired of it. And that's also why I really don't care about doing drama streams that much, because I lose the passion for it, because I don't have that passion for drama streams. I have passion for discussions like what we have today, politics, things that are going around the world.
I already do drama with it on my YouTube.
Controversy. What were you saying, Kevin?
I just do drama on my community post if I need to say something.
You got something to say?
No, No, not now.
Okay. Yeah, getting back to it. Huh?
I just find it funny with the whole Arthur situation.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Let me tell you this. I never talked about that issue. But here's my thing. And this happened a long time ago with me, Junko, and all these other people who gotten themselves involved into some sick shit. I cut them off. They're not in my group because I don't want to have any affiliation with child predatory acts. And I think anyone that still affiliates with someone who is doing that, regardless if that's your friend or not, it shows what kind of values you support. And if it's on your server, and those images and whatever they found, if it's on your server, dude, don't you know you're going to be liable to that? Don't you know you're going to be people out there that's going to come at you and say you support that and you condone that? Come on, dude, you can't be that stupid. You cannot be that dumb. Like, I know you're slow, but you cannot be that dumb to blindlessly defend someone who you know is going to be a detriment to you and your money, because you know you love your money. Come on, dude. Like, but anyways, that's his problem. I've been there, done that for many years.
He's always going to defend pedophiles no matter what.
That's his. He's gonna,
And I'm never wrong either. So,
kind of like how I had to cut off a certain person who went on promoting. I already know who that is. Peter Gilmore. My favorite phrase, nigga, you are accused with pedophilia. I said it before and I say it again. That's exactly what he is, They do these things and then, they want to be, and what offends me the most is when they defend it and then they want to compare themselves to homosexuals. They want to say, well, gay people are accepted and people accept them, so why can't they accept us groomers? It's that kind of shit that I would love to enact a violent threat. But I know that I will never, ever do something like that because that person... Huh?
Not just that.
Let me see. Chase says, never associate with people that abuse or have sexual tendencies towards a kid. Period. Period. That's a red flag. And if you find them, saying that they're so cute and they fantasize and they start making, subtle cues, that right there you got to pick up on, because even that leads on to a thought that once you find out, you ain't gonna want to fuck with that person anymore. Catch that on fleek, But see, this is what I said before. That's their issue. That's their problem. I've been there, done that when it comes to dealing with shenanigans involving accusations, dealing with people who've been caught. I've been there. I've literally been through those situations dealing with people who I had to confront. And so if they want to make the same mistakes and repeat the same errors and continuously get themselves involved in situations that they should have known better the first time, let them learn their lesson the hard way, prison style, or Diddy style, however you want to call it.
Take notes, John Davis.
It's just it really speaks volumes on their whole mental state. Like they know what they're doing is fucked up, but instead of them actually, no, I'm not gonna say it because it wouldn't make any sense, because they know exactly what they're doing, but they're trying to use themselves to try to guilt trip someone else and then say, well, I didn't touch a child, it was just an image. And that's what they will say. That's what Junko said. And so you got to be very careful about.
Technically. That's what the wizard was talking about.
That's what Dan Rolfe said. In fact, Dan Rolfe defended Lolly Khan and said it was, it was a drawing and it's not a real person. Doesn't matter. It was based off of a child. Okay. And I don't even like to watch hentai, because the hentai that they make, the characters always look like borderline minors. They always look like they're either 17, 16. They never make them look like actual grown adults, like someone that that's that's in their 20s or 30s. Anytime they show hentai, it's like the characters are borderline underage. And from then on, I was never interested in hentai. I never liked hentai after that. But yeah, that's just my personal opinion. I'm just ranting. We're just having a fuck around rant. But that's just what I think about that. You made your bed and you have to lie in it. You get yourself involved in situations that is consequential. If people don't want to associate with you, then you can't force them to like you. You can't force them to be your friend, no matter how much you try to put them on blast.
The other day, I don't associate with groups. Well, if you're in the Discord server, that's called a group.
Doesn't matter, dude. It's in your fucking server. It's in your server. People can see it. People literally can see it, and that's the whole reason why they don't want to have any dealings, because you condone it. It's on your server. And you knew about these situations. It's people are gonna look at you. Well, let me not make that joke, but people. I was gonna say people are gonna look at you sideways, but that's by default. That's by default. But people are gonna
sideways, upwards.
People are gonna, they're gonna really not want to have any dealings with you. And then you may think that they're being fake and phony. No, they just don't want the responsibility of dealing with your situations involving illegal acts. It's like someone who don't want to associate with someone for getting themselves involved in drug trafficking, and they know someone who does drug trafficking, and they don't want to have any connections with that person, so they distance themselves from that person because they don't want to be involved in any sort of legal affairs, and that makes sense. Why would anyone wants to get themselves involved in criminal behavior if they don't want any part of it? You can't get mad at that. You got to know right from wrong, and if you want to continue to do the wrong, that's on you. But don't get mad at your friends for leaving you because they don't want to be involved in your yuck. Come on.
Let's show them just how brightly our spirit burns. I gain valuable experience with each passing day.
I think that's it we need to talk about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's probably because I'm doing it very late, and the conversation, because I honestly, when I was setting up my microphone and I was looking at the time, I was like, oh fuck, they're probably thinking, oh shit, ZTB is running away, or ZTB is, he doesn't want to confront us and have a conversation. So I'm trying to freaking install this Windows 11 driver on my Blue Snowball, and literally it's saying Windows has an error. Windows have an error. Please install the correct drivers. And so that was pissing me off, and I was getting so livid from that. I was really getting upset. And I was getting angry because I'm like, fuck it, if I can't get this shit done, I'm going to just reschedule the stream and do it another time. But I really wanted to do it now. And so when I finally got the correct freaking drivers for it, I was like, oh, thank you. Now let me rush back, hook up my settings, get everything I need to get, and hopefully people are still awake and up to observe what my point of view is. And I'm glad I'm able to, get that out the way, because, I was able to, of course, I was able to talk with Dark Horse. I was able to talk, with, Chayton coming in here and wanting to try to get a rise. But, I'll come to your show. I'm no problem with that. And I wanted to basically just have my perspective and tell my opinion on Mr. Charlie Kirk. I didn't know about what happened with Mysteriously Kind. I wasn't aware of that situation. I wonder if that happened. Did it happen on Money AD stream?
No, Chain Stream. I asked him about that.
Oh shit!
I don't watch Chain Stream, so I don't do shit.
I gotta
waste the time watching this shit. Oh, I said it.
Were you gonna watch if I come in there?
No.
What does it get to a roasting match though?
I watched the roasting though.
Okay, we get to the banter. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. But yeah, getting back to it, yeah, I did not knew about that. I was like, oh damn. I mean, Charlie Kirk is bad, but he ain't that bad to the point where, huh?
And depends on the time as well.
Oh yeah, that. Well, you look at what time it is now. 5:26 a.m. in the morning in the States, Eastern Standard Time.
Almost 10:30 here. So
yeah, over there in the UK.
I'll never watch. Never.
Yeah. Sorry for keeping you guys up late though. For the people who are in America and is watching this and expecting, an earlier stream, I do apologize. I advise people who get Windows 11 to do your research ahead of time before you buy equipment, because Windows 11 is not compatible with a lot of devices that are out now. And so, yeah.
9.
So fuck Windows 11. That's all I gotta say.
Right now I'm just playing Dynasty Wars now.
You playing Dynasty Wars? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get going today.
Yeah, I think this is it for me. I think I really expressed my point, and I had a productive conversation, and I appreciate it. So I appreciate you, Pink Lives Matter, Kevin Laggy, for coming in and giving in your thoughts, and I appreciate it. So, till next time, hasta luego.
By the way, thanks for the screenshots, trolls.
Oh, okay, do that, bitch. Okay. But see you later, man. We're gonna talk later. All right. And guys, thank you for coming in. And let me just give a little bit of a shout outs here. Let me just see. Eric, you missed. I miss you for this stream. So hopefully next time we can continue for a part 2. So Eric, thank you for coming in. Pink Lives Matter, Kevin Laggy, thank you for coming in. Cherry, my girl, thanks you for coming in. Outstanding, well endowed, Randy, thank you for coming in. I don't know who you are, but I like your username. Will, thank you for coming in. I hope we can have more of this discussion. I wanted to have it with Omega, because Omega wanted to talk about the Charlie Kirk situation, and he also wanted to discuss about Candace Owens and her affairs. So maybe next time we'll go for a part 2 and we'll get Omega and we can really get into this convo. Louis Jin, thank you for coming in. You're always there to support. Let me scroll down. Chase, thank you for coming in, and thank you for being up, because it's pretty late over there as well, and you were able to make it, so I really did appreciate it. Bronzebird, my nigga, what's going on? Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing your love and support. Igor, my dude, thank you for having this engaging conversation and letting me know about the right-wing manosphere and TERFs, who are insecure petty bitches. How are you going to be intimidated by a trans person? Like, it just screams projection. DH, I'm glad we were able to have a meaningful conversation and a peaceful one, because I thought we were going to be butting heads and fighting, because I know you are a big fan of Charlie Kirk, and I know it's something that is a conversation that hits you home because, you know, he's a person that you idolize. But at the same light, you know, not mocking his demise, as you know, I'm mocking him alive, when he was alive, and explaining my side of what I think of Charlie, and know that it's wrong to mock people who get shot. The man didn't deserve death, and he doesn't deserve violence. He deserves to be talked down to and be looked stupid. And yeah, Charlie Kirk definitely deserved that, but he doesn't deserve any of violence of the sort. It's fucked up. It's real fucked up, and it makes me a little bit scared to even understand that there's people that will be so radicalized that will do stuff like that and will hurt you all because you have a different opinion. I'll be in your stream, Chayton, and we'll have a get go. We'll do a little banter. Chase, thank you for coming. And let's see, Sloppy. I was talking shit. Really talking shit about Leon, though. But you were involved and I was bringing you up. But thank you for coming here. Thank you for being here. Jolly Gosh. No.One.Mourns.The.Wicked. Thank you for coming. And Nick, thank you for coming. It's funny, I was talking about Nick Fuentes earlier and then you show up here. Thank you for coming. And part 2 is, okay, so I wanted to do it whenever Omega is available, because Omega wanted to come in and wanted to do this topic about the shooting with Charlie Kirk. So whenever Omega is free, we can try to go for that, because I want to get him, I want to get Will in the conversation, I want to get ITB, because I haven't heard from ITB in a long time. So I want to get him in a conversation and we can all just discuss. And, you know, of course, you're going to be there. And even Double Z, because Double Z knows a lot about Charlie Kirk as well. So if he's available, we can do that for part 2. I want part 2 to be more inclusive. This is just a rushing part 1 because I was late. But part 2, I want it to be like really, really impactful and engaging. And so that's what I'm going to do that for part 2. But when that happens, it'll be a show. It'll be a show you guys will definitely enjoy. But for the people that showed up and people were able to make it here on time and watch through the end of it, I appreciate it. So thank you so much. And yeah, I guess that's it for what I have to say. I'm going to say my final thoughts on this matter. I don't mourn Charlie Kirk. Because I don't like the person. I don't respect Charlie Kirk. I don't respect him as a person. Because his viewpoints, they are not aligned with mine. And in my personal opinion, the type of viewpoints he has is very warped and skewed and messed up and dehumanizing. As a black man, as a person of color, as someone who he would decline to do any professional work with because he doesn't believe I have the intellectual capacity to do it due to my race, due to my ethnicity. No black person, no self-respecting black person will sit there and literally shake hands with someone who thinks that about them. That is like, you're basically promoting eugenics, you know? But we'll talk about more in part 2 because I want to get back into Charlie Kirk nefarious affairs prior to the shooting, and then we can discuss. Right now it's late. Y'all motherfuckers are getting tired. I'm tired as fuck. It's 5:34 a.m. This is the time I get up for work. But it's Sunday, so you guys can relax, chill, drink beer, get laid, you know, play with your meat, do whatever, finger pop, whatever you want to do, you can do it. And just, you know, chill for the Sunday, because Monday is not so fun day. But thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. And next time, hopefully, we can get a little collab going. So until next time, hasta luego.